Today, we looked at the beautiful choreographies prepared by clubs around the world. Hats off to their hands, arms, and efforts. Once again, they showed us how beautiful this game can be with the fan shows. Moreover, they reminded us that football is never just football. Taking this opportunity, we sat down and compiled the most beautiful choreographies from all around the world for you. First of all, let's thank the ultras-tifo.net website. They have created a wonderful archive of these shows, which are an important part of ultra culture. I can say that I benefited from this source about 90% while creating this content. I tried to select the works with the most effort and the most original ideas among the nearly 3,000 choreographies made since 2014. I would be happy if I get your liking. While your hand is already there, we'll take a short break for you to subscribe, and then we'll start right away. Here is a world tour with the concept of fan arts, where we will sail into different cultures. We begin our tour in Italy with a choreography prepared by Juventus fans in 2016. Juventus was celebrating its 5th consecutive championship at that time, a streak that would later extend to 9. Juventus had come to the league match against Sampdoria already having secured the championship, and the fans had worked feverishly for this occasion. On the west side of the stadium, a black background was used to create a historia or history inscription. Instead of the letter S, the number 5, symbolizing the 5 championships, was embroidered in golden yellow. If you recall, golden yellow was a frequently used color in Juventus old logos. In the north stand, there were messages intimidating their rivals. The message at the top read, "Very few teams have written history," and at the bottom, it said, "Only one became a legend." In the center, there was an old football ball symbolizing the club's foundation, surrounded by flags representing the last 5 championships. The night became unforgettable with Juventus winning the match 5-0 and celebrating by lifting the trophy at the final whistle. In late 2017, just 3 days before Halloween, a match between Milan and Juventus took place. Therefore, Milan's famous South Stand, Cava Sud, organized a Halloween-themed event. As mentioned earlier, Milan was going through a period of Juventus dominant play, and indeed, they lost this match at home 2-0. Consequently, Milan fans had to focus on the past rather than the present. A graveyard poster adorned with a frightening pumpkin figure, a total of 7 different tombstones, each bearing specific dates. If you're not a Juventus fan, it's entirely normal not to understand the significance of these dates. However, I'm sure many Juventus supporters would have recognized them instantly. The years 1973, 83, 97, 98, 2015, and 2017, with 2003 right in the middle. Each of these dates represents a Champions League final that Juventus lost. The reason Manchester is written above 2003 is because Juventus lost to Milan that year. "What matters is not winning," said Cava Sud. "The only thing that truly matters is the cup, the dream, and the great nightmare." And here we are at the Derby della Madonnina. Since these two teams share the same stadium, every match they face often also becomes a choreography competition. The snake figure has been used in Inter's old logos. On the Milan side, the devil symbol has held significant importance throughout history. Therefore, choreographies usually revolve around these two symbols. In the 2018 derby hosted by Inter, Cava Nord, as always, presented a chilling snake figure. Surrounding it were devils trying to escape from it in every corner. Cava Sud, on the other hand, took a different approach this time. In their choreography, there's no devil. With colored cards they hold in their hands, they depict a pair of hands splitting the snake and Inter symbol in half. Continuing with Germany, we have a beautiful example from Freiburg fans, showcasing how choreographies can be used for purposes other than supporting your team. This happened during a Freiburg-Frankfurt match in 2015. At that time, the Freiburg supporters wanted to express their desires to the club management, who were indecisive about a new stadium project. They organized a choreography where the message "Yes to the new stadium" could be seen across all 4 stands. The small placards with "Ja, yes" written on them, held by everyone, created a visually striking display. For those curious, Freiburg did indeed get their new stadium in 2021. We are in the 2016 DFB Pokal semifinal match between Hertha Berlin and Borussia Dortmund. You might not consider this as an incredibly original choreography, but the reason I mention it is that Hertha Berlin fans were able to project this display onto the oval stands of the Berlin Olympic Stadium. They not only overcame the challenge but also added a different vibrancy to the oval stands. It looked like a giant screen, resembling a dynamic atmosphere. The size of the depicted ball figure and the small lines illustrating the intensity of the shot created an illusion that the ball was getting closer to the screen as it traveled. They also successfully portrayed the figure of a player executing a half volley on the ball. The message written below is simple: shot, goal, hooray. Another choreography from the Bundesliga. There is approximately a 60-kilometer distance between Mönchengladbach and Cologne, making this match one of the popular fixtures in the Bundesliga. You may have noticed that Cologne's emblem features a goat figure. This goat figure comes from a local circus director gifting a goat to the club during the carnival season in 1950, just 2 years after the club's foundation, to bring luck. Since those days, the club has also used a real goat wearing a Cologne jersey as a mascot. Here, the choreography created by Mönchengladbach fans is a tribute to this goat figure. It depicts a man slapping the buttocks of a goat lying in his lap, accompanied by the text "An old and beautiful tradition." Many German football club fans invest considerable effort in these displays, and this is not limited to Bundesliga teams alone. For example, I came across numerous impressive choreographies by Dynamo Dresden, a team currently playing in the 3rd division. Among them, I've chosen one from the time they were still competing in the 2nd division in 2018, hosting Hamburg. In this creative display, a character resembling Fred Flintstone, wearing a Dynamo Dresden scarf, is depicted hitting Dino with a club. Those familiar with the cartoon series might remember that Dino was pink. The reason this Dino is blue is that Hamburg's mascot, named Dino, is blue. The message above conveys the meaning: the dinosaur hunt in the valley is still ongoing. If I mention that Dresden is located on the banks of the Elbe River, famous for the Dresden-Elbe Valley, everything might fall into place. Next in line is the display from Schalke 04 during the 2018 German Cup semifinal match against Frankfurt, rooted in the history of coal miners. On both sides of the stands, the club's colors of white and blue prevail, while the central section is pitch black. As two three-dimensional miner figures rise, it becomes apparent that the darkness represents a coal mine. The illumination of their lanterns with torches is a delightful detail. Finally, we witness the miners digging and reaching the German Cup, loading it onto their wheelbarrows. The message at the top includes a portion of an old anthem beloved by Schalke supporters. Roughly translated, it conveys a meaning like, "And let's carry on, night wagons to the mines." Unfortunately, Schalke lost the match 1-0, missing the chance to advance to the final. Continuing with the Yellow Wall, one of the world's most famous fan groups, the South Stand of Borussia Dortmund truly deserves its fame. They are a community that unquestionably supports their team. For instance, in the final match of the 2022-23 season, despite missing the championship, calling and applauding their players and coaching staff was a memorable sight. Yellow Wall is as famous for their choreographies as they are for their unconditional support. Every display they create is a potential candidate for this list. Even the choreographies where they form just the club emblem are so precise that it seems as if the Yellow Wall is a military unit, and its members are soldiers. Among them, the one that impressed me the most was the bizarre show they put on during the Barcelona match in 2019, where they simply threw confetti into the air. If a strong wind had blown at that moment, the beautiful display could have been ruined. Even if only for a few seconds, the BVB letters hanging in the air above the Yellow Wall were both a very original idea and a delightful sight. We've crossed over to Serbia. In the 2017 Champions League group stage, Red Star hosted Arsenal and prepared a fan show inspired by their opponent's logo. To be honest, it can't be said that the resulting image is very precise. In fact, you need a few seconds of careful observation to understand what it is. However, because it is a very original idea, I wanted to include it. As you know, Arsenal's nickname is the Gunners, and their logo features a cannonball. That's why the Red Star stands depicted a ball figure. However, there is also a hand figure blocking the mouth of the ball with the index finger. As a result, the ball bounces back. We are in Portugal. Although the country's #1 derby is played between two Lisbon teams with the same roots, Porto, the team from the second largest city in Portugal, has entered into a serious rivalry with Benfica in recent years due to their successes. The name of Porto's stadium is Dragão, meaning dragon. The club's president, Pinto da Costa, explained, "The dragon is our symbol, it is in our hands and on the city's coat of arms. There could be no better name that symbolizes the strength and vitality of FC Porto and the certainty of our future." Here is the memorable choreography displayed by the blue and white fans during the 2015 match hosted by Porto against Benfica. A visual show that references this name. On the north stand, there was a message, "Only the strongest survive, we are immortal." On the opposite side, it said, "Acor de Dragão," meaning wake up, dragon, with a colossal dragon head figure below. Is that all? No. The sections with the dragon's eyes were intentionally cut and left empty. Thanks to the flares lit by the fans in these sections, a terrifying dragon figure with flames emanating from its eyes was depicted. We continue with Austria, but the match in question is a Champions League game played in 2019, Salzburg against Napoli. Something we often see is the effort of the home fans to make their opponents feel like they are playing away. The goal is to psychologically pressure them, somewhat intimidate or disturb them. This choreography has it all. Salzburg fans created a frightening banner themed after the famous horror film series Jigsaw. This choreography, displayed as the teams entered the field for the ceremony, is accompanied by fans waving shiny and rustling flags made of paper. It creates a disturbing and unsettling scene both visually and acoustically. When the banner is fully unfolded, a message in red letters appears at the bottom. Do you want to play a game with us? Before Red Bull Salzburg began to dominate the league with the support of their sponsor, the biggest team in Austrian football was undoubtedly Rapid Wien. Historically, one could still argue the same, as despite not winning the championship since 2007, they still have a superior record with 32 championships compared to Salzburg's 17. Rapid has a fan group that calls themselves the Green Lions. On the 20th anniversary of their establishment in October 2023, this group organized an elaborate display during Rapid Wien's match against LASK Linz. Initially, there is a lion figure on each side with Roman numerals indicating the years 2003 and 2023 underneath. In the center, there is a larger banner with the group's emblem. After this banner is lowered, the fans in the central section are seen wearing colors matching those in the club's emblem. Then, a banner in 9 pieces gradually reveals the founding date of the group. As 4 pieces are lowered, it initially shows the year 2003 and then slowly transforms into 2023. Once the banners are completely lowered, the group spells out 20 with cards in Roman numerals while painting the background green. The next banner features a large lion figure. But is it over? Not yet. As the night falls, the same lion figure appears, this time in 3 dimensions, and starts to rise. Red flares accompany it, and the message below reads, "No one can change the beast we become." Let's delve into Argentina. The fierce rivalry between Boca Juniors and River Plate is well known. In 2019, they were paired in the semifinals of the Copa Libertadores. It was a super classico match in the continent's most prestigious tournament. Perhaps there weren't choreographies with profound meanings, but from confetti to flares, fireworks to colored cards, that night in Brazil was a visual feast. Just by looking at these images, one could understand how significant this match was, perhaps even more than just a game. We are in Romania. Up next, there's a very emotional and meaningful display. You don't always have to create choreography to provoke your rivals. The match is between Dinamo Bucharest and Cluj. However, the choreography performed by the home fans is not related to the game itself. Shortly before this match, they are remembering the footballer Patrick Ikeng, who collapsed and passed away at the age of 26 while playing against Viitorul. In one stand, there is a large silhouette of Ikeng, and in the other, the message, "Goodbye Patrick," is formed. We have moved on to France. One of the most significant rivalries in the country is between Saint-Étienne and Olympique Marseille. These two arch-rivals, who dominated French football in the 60s and 70s, may be away from the same success nowadays, but the fire of rivalry continues to burn. In a match played at Saint-Étienne Stadium in 2015, the home team's ultras group, Coop Nord, delivered an interesting choreography. We are familiar with choreographies where fans hold colored cards. However, in such choreographies, if a few people do not lift their cards, the desired image may not emerge. For this reason, it seems that the people from Saint-Étienne managed to achieve complete unity by wearing colored ponchos, creating a cohesive look and revealing the inscription Coop Nord. Furthermore, the front and back of the ponchos are of different colors. When the entire stand turned their backs to the field simultaneously, both the color of the text and the background changed, creating a beautiful image. Let's continue with a choreography from the French Classico. Against the economic power and glamour of Paris, there are the workers of the port city Marseille. The home fans of Olympique de Marseille prepared for this choreography for a full 3 weeks in the match against Paris Saint-Germain in 2015. A total of 49,000 cards were used, and they organized 8 different groups for this display. While works depicting the club's old logos were present in the north and south stands, on the west stand, Olympique de Marseille's initials were meticulously prepared, including shading. The single star above the letters symbolizes the championship they won in 1993 when they defeated Milan 1-0 in the final, marking the first year of the tournament being held with the new format and under the name UEFA Champions League, replacing the previous European Cup. Next up is an extravagant choreography prepared by the fan group of Olympique Lyonnais, who call themselves Bad Boys. Celebrating their 35th anniversary in 2022, the group covered the entire north stand with red curtains in the match against Nice. As the curtain slowly opened, the first things that catch the eye are the message "Since 1987" and a banner representing Bad Gonez. It's a multi-stage production. As the banner gives way to the letters O and L, the following messages appear in succession: "For this club and this emblem, for this city and these stands. The choreography formed by cards then takes the shape of LYON at that moment. Afterward, the group's custom-made scarves and, finally, the number 35 written in Roman numerals alongside the Bad Gones logo. I must mention that the culture of choreography is not widespread in some countries. For example, there is no such tradition in England, they rarely engage in it. In Spain, we often see them conveying their messages through large banners. In 2022, during the Champions League quarter-final against Chelsea, Real Madrid displayed one such banner, and it was a quite impressive work. On both sides of the stand, there is a message in Spanish saying something like, "You don't play games with kings." A king figure, wearing a crown and draped in the purple color representing Madrid, is distributing playing cards. I believe the intended meaning here is, we deal the cards, we set the rules. The detail of the Champions League trophy on the playing cards and the number 13 symbolize Madrid's record of winning the trophy 13 times until that day. Real Madrid went on to extend this record to 14 at the end of that season. Next up is the visual spectacle presented by Barcelona fans during the 2019 UEFA Champions League quarter-final against Liverpool. They have done different versions of this in many matches, and at first glance, it may seem simple. However, with Camp Nou's capacity surpassing 90,000, making it one of Europe's largest stadiums, synchronizing such displays becomes increasingly challenging with a growing number of spectators. Yet, Barcelona fans demonstrate great discipline. The harmonious coordination of these colors also produces fantastic visuals. The Catalans declare, "We are ready to color Europe." We are heading to Poland. I must emphasize that Polish teams are truly excellent in this regard. There were numerous noteworthy works, but it was impossible to include all of them. I chose this one from a Legia Warsaw vs Lech Poznan match in 2017. Legia fans support their team with a spectacular display covering 3 stands during the ceremony. The message reads, "Don't give up." Unexpectedly, another impressive choreography unfolds during the match. A massive banner depicts a pair of hands holding the trophy by its handles, with a message on top, 2017 Polish champions. Legia fans made this part of the banner transparent. With flares lit beneath that area, the Golden Cup takes on a fiery appearance. The message at the bottom of the stand states, "We shine for the highest goals." We move on to the United States. The American Football League might not attract as much attention, but I have to say they do quite well in the choreography department. There is a historical rivalry between the cities of Seattle and Portland on the west coast of the country. One contributing factor to this rivalry was the competitive nature of the basketball teams from these two cities, the Sonics and the Blazers, in the NBA during the 90s, frequently facing each other. For many Americans, the fiercest rivalry in MLS is the matchup between Portland and Seattle. In a match between these two teams in 2016, the home team Portland Timbers fans organized a choreography inspired by the famous horror film series Elm Street Nightmare. They seemingly drew inspiration from Freddy Krueger, the main character of the series, wearing a sweater that closely resembled their own team's jersey. As Krueger's 3D silhouette rises, the background reveals the message "Legends never sleep." If you've seen the film series, you would know that Krueger is a kind of monster that only appears in your dreams when you're asleep. If you're wondering why there are no red and black colors in Timbers' logo or colors, in American sports, teams frequently change logos and colors, and they are not very traditional in those matters. We are in Russia. The bear analogy is a symbol of strength for Russians. Additionally, the term Russian bear is used in diplomatic jargon similar to the German Panzer. In 2019, during the Champions League match where Zenit hosted Leipzig, there was a visually stunning choreography. The 3D choreography depicted an elderly man playing the traditional Russian instrument balalaika in the middle of 2 gigantic bear figures. When this trio was combined with the background that emerged, featuring the lights of the stadium, it created a spectacular visual scene. The message below the choreography read, "Our minds are with Zenit, our hearts with Russia." This time, we are in a Lokomotiv Moscow vs Spartak Moscow match played in 2017. However, the home team Lokomotiv's choreography has nothing to do with the match or the opponent. The goal is to protest the BBC's production named Russia's Hooligan Army, which focuses on hooliganism, a while before the 2018 FIFA World Cup in Russia. 2 fans with ski masks are depicted, one inside the television screen holding a shovel, and the other outside holding a scarf in a threatening manner. The most striking part of the choreography is the use of the BBC letters at the bottom of the banner, creating a play on words with blah blah channel. Departing from the cold Russian territories, we are now venturing into the scorching deserts. We find ourselves in the fiery rivalry of Casablanca, perhaps the most intense competition in North Africa. The historical competition between Raja and Wydad Casablanca is played in the 5th Mohammed Stadium with a capacity of 70,000, and both players on the field and fans in the stands share the stage with shows, chants, and choreographies. In 2015, the red side of the rivalry, the Wydad fans, presented a quite extraordinary choreography. First, a three-dimensional fan figure with a spray paint can in hand rises. However, the face of this fan is turned not towards the field but to the stands. The reason for this becomes apparent slowly. This fan moves horizontally and, like a wall, starts drawing graffiti on the top of the Wydad stands with the spray paint in hand. It is indeed a very creative idea. We are heading back to the cold lands, to Denmark. The two sides of the Copenhagen Derby clashed at Parken Stadium in 2014. On the south stand, we see a ball ready to be shot, and a bit further, the Brøndby Stadium. With the help of a fan located at the top of the stand, a symbolic ball bullet sets off towards the stadium. Yes, maybe executing this choreography isn't extremely challenging, but as an idea, it's a very creative work. When the ball bullet reaches the stadium, Brøndby Stadium first starts to burn, then completely collapses. The choreography concludes with the slogan, "Copenhagen is ours." Now we are on the other side of the rivalry, at the Brøndby Stadium. As you know, the Copenhagen coat of arms features a lion, and one of the club's nicknames is the Lions. In a match played in 2015, just before the match, the home team covers each of its 4 stands with visuals resembling an arena. In one of the stands behind the goal, there is a depiction of a gladiator facing a lion. When the teams come out for the ceremony, the visual changes, and the gladiator, holding a sword in one hand and lifting the head of the lion he is separated from its body in the other hand, greets the spectators. Yes, it's a bit savage, but it's an impressive piece of work. Let's continue from the Scandinavian peninsula. We're in the Stockholm Derby, where AIK is facing Djurgårdens. The reason I chose this is because I really liked the atmosphere at the stadium, and you'll see that the choreography is quite impressive as well. Firstly, it's a nice detail that the away section has its own choreography. Djurgårdens fans, painting their allocated section in their team's colors from top to bottom, showcase three-dimensional figures of 4 club legends along with the message "Make us proud, Jernkaminer," which means iron furnaces and is one of the club's nicknames. The home team, naturally, has put more detailed effort into their display. Like their rivals, they also feature 2 players with significant roles in the club's history. In the center, there is the club's logo. We see that these figures are worked in black and white tones to give a nostalgic feel. The message accompanying these figures is "Preserve your history." Just when you think the show is over, a three-dimensional figure starts to rise slowly. It's a cute boy around 9 to 10 years old with bright yellow hair holding an AIK scarf. This figure represents Eric, a devoted young fan who never misses an AIK match and also plays football in the club's youth system. As Eric rises, the message below changes from "Preserve your history" to "Preserve your future." We are finishing our list by going to Turkey. We are in the 2014-15 season when Galatasaray became the champion and added the 4th star to their emblem. It's a classic Istanbul derby, but what makes this choreography special is that if Galatasaray couldn't win the match, they wouldn't be able to become champions. Yet, they organized a choreography as a championship celebration. It's truly an incredible display of courage and confidence. If Galatasaray had not won the derby that day, they wouldn't have become champions, and it would have been a disgrace for the country. A fantastic choreography involving all 4 stands. In one stand, there's a salute to the king in the north stand. The lion figure used as the club's mascot. In the south, the silhouette of their coach at the time, Hamza Hamzaoglu, and above him, it says "We will be champions." Even before the match started, the stands declared their team champions. The players, welcomed by the stands as if they had already won the championship, played like champions and won the derby 2-0. Galatasaray indeed became the champion, and the choreography ended successfully. We've come to the end of our content. Forgive us if we missed or overlooked any displays, but rest assured, if you enjoyed it, we can create new ones at intervals and turn this into a video series. Thank you for watching Football Whispers. Take very good care of yourselves. Goodbye.